This is the Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is the NRL Round Review Podcast, and it is round 14 that I will be reviewing now. Now, sorry, this one is a little bit late out. The round finished on the Monday, and it's only coming out a couple of days later, so look, I apologise for that one. But the late game on Monday, my Parramatta Eels unfortunately going down to the Bulldogs sort of held that one back. It always gets a little bit hectic when you do have a Monday game and then you chuck in Tuesday work, and then this is the only opportunity you get to do it. But anyway, it was round 14 and it kicked off at Jones Stadium. It was Manly travelling up the M1 to play Newcastle. A good crowd of 16,027 turned up to watch a Newcastle victory, 26 points to 22, 5 tries to 4 win, and it was Kalyn Ponga's first try for 2025 that got the Newcastle Knights over the line in Golden Point, mind you. Look, it was 16-0 at half-time, and you thought Manly were cruising. 16-0, you thought, okay, yeah, Manly are in control of this game. Newcastle, but then after half-time, Fletcher Sharp, hasn't he been playing good footy lately? 2 tries he scored, 45th minute, 74th minute. His namesake Fletcher, the other one, Hunt, scored a try as well. And then, as I mentioned, James Schiller got a try, and then, as I mentioned, Kalyn Ponga got that try in Golden Point. It was a pretty good try as well. I think he put the kick up as well. I think it was Fletcher Hunt who might have got the ball back and then got it to Kalyn, and then Kalyn ran over and the crowd went wild. Manly did have a shot at 2-point field goal as well. But 16-0 half-time, as I said, you thought that Newcastle were well in control. Now, there was a little bit of controversy sort of off-field with the fans booing the team off the field at half-time. Look, it did the trick in the end, didn't it? Newcastle turned around and got the victory, but Adam O'Brien in the press conference, he sort of, I wouldn't say had a go at the fans, but sort of mentioned the fans not knowing rugby league by doing that, and then he apologised the next day about that press conference and what he said there, as he was unaware as he was walking down from the top of the grandstand to the sheds for half-time. So, look, little bit of controversy there. Look, I'm sure some of the fans are probably still not happy about his comments, but at least he came out and apologised after that. DCE, Daly Cherry Evans, has been dropped from the Queensland Origin side. Look, was this game the reason? Probably not. It was probably maybe going to always happen. You just sort of had those inklings after Queensland lost that one game. So that was a good way to start off the weekend. Then it rolled into the Melbourne Storm versus the Cowboys. And look, the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne, they are a bit of a machine down there. They never looked like losing this game. 18-4 at half-time, 6 tries to 3. Ryan Pappenhausen was so accurate with the boot. 7 goals to him, 6 out of 6 conversions, and a penalty goal as well. 18-4 at half time, 19,096. The Melbourne Storm, just down in Melbourne, as I said, they are pretty much machine-like. Great crowd there as well, and what can I say? They probably haven't been playing the best football this season. They did make the grand final last year, but look, Melbourne are probably one of those teams that it must be hard for them because they just play each and every week and they're just waiting for September when the real football happens. That is for sure. News during the week that Craig Bellamy has signed on again for 2026, which, look, if you're a Melbourne fan, that is awesome. Rugby league, that's good for rugby league as well, having Bellyache in the game again for another year. But just means that the Melbourne Storm will be one of those contenders again in 2026, that is for sure. The Cowboys, look, they are just a little bit of a hard team to get a read on. I think they're still in the 8, but their season has been up and down, really. They've had a few games at home in a row. This was an away game before Origin. But yeah, they just never got into the game. Mistakes riddled, and the Storm went on their merry way. The next game, this next game, unbelievable, this one. The Dragons travelled up to Suncorp to take on the Dolphins, 19,500 fans up there at Suncorp. Wow, 10 tries to 1. The Dolphins won 56 points to 6. My tipping this week was no good. I tipped the Dragons. How stupid of me. 10 tries to 1. The Dragons were never in it. They only got on the scoreboard in the 63rd minute, but it was all done by then. Herbie Farnworth got a double. The Hammer, he got a double. Jermaine Asako got a double. Jack Bostock, he got a try. Connolly Limu, he got a double. 28-2 at half time. What do you say? The Dolphins, they are a little bit of a sort of a quiet achiever. They're just chugging along, not too bad. They are sitting at the moment in 7th position. So they're in the top 8. They've only had one bye this year. So they are sitting pretty at the moment on 14 points in the 8. So can they maintain that? Their next game is against the Cowboys, so that'll be an interesting one there, that is for sure. But look, the Dolphins, they are playing some good footy there, led by Isaiah Katoa, a young halfback who is certainly taking this team, leading this team into the top 8 and maybe into their first ever final series. As for the Dragons, well, look, I don't think Shane Flanagan will cop that this week in their game against the Sharks. I think we'll see a different Dragons side this week, a competitive side, but definitely not a 56 points losing team. But very frustrating for the Dragons. They did have a great win a couple of weeks ago against the Broncos. They had the bye last week. Maybe that was no good for them. They had that good momentum against the Broncos. But yeah, there's not much to say about the Dragons, that is for sure. This next game, the Sharks against the Warriors, was won, and this was at Shark Park, was won 40 points to 10 from the Warriors. Again, disappointing from the Sharks, playing a top team and not getting a victory. I would have thought they would have performed a little bit better than that. But the Warriors, look, they are on fire, led by Luke Metcalf. He is playing great footy. I think he was leading the Dally M's when it went behind closed doors. It was a 7-try to 2 victory. 12-10 at half time. You thought maybe it could be still anybody's game, but the Warriors really turned it on in the second half. Chanel Harris-Tavita got a double late in the game. James Fisher-Harris as well, what a leader he is for that side, with Mitch Barnett unfortunately doing his ACL last week against the Rabbitohs. So James Fisher-Harris, he got a try leading the way there. Speaking of tries, KL Iro, he got a try in the 33rd minute. Now, he has scored, in his 9 games, he has scored 9 tries. So a try in every one of his 9 games. So I think the record for consecutive tries in games is 10. Unfortunately, he has a pec injury, so he'll be out for a little bit. But still, 9 tries in 9 games, 1 try games, pretty fair effort. And the Warriors, they march on a little bit better. They're in 3rd position now. They've got the bye this weekend, so they are sitting pretty on the same points as the Raiders, and looking like they will finish in the top 4. The Sharks, look, a bit of soul searching to do for them, especially when they're playing against these top teams. Now, this next game, 2 teams under pressure. 39,884 at Suncorp Stadium. It was the Brisbane Broncos up against the Gold Coast Titans. 8 tries to 3 win to the Broncos. It was 44 points to 14. 28-0 at halftime. Now, this game was played, the Broncos played in black jerseys. Now, that was for the mental health charity, the Black Dog Institute. And look, I must say, they looked pretty good. And look, a lot of people are raving about them. Look, I guess if it was for the Black Dog Institute for mental health, look, it was something different. A lot of people were saying that it looked like the All Blacks were playing. They had the white numbers on the back, and it was pretty much all black. And it did look like the All Blacks, but it's something I don't think we've ever seen in rugby league. And look, we may see it again next year, and maybe the NRL might do a NRL mental health round. Who knows? But look, it was a confidence-boosting win for the Broncos. Shibasaki, he got the try in the first minute, and you thought, wow, the Broncos, they're on here straight away. Katoni Staggs, he was on fire. The try he scored, if you get a chance, go back and have a look at it. It was pretty much off a kick and caught it and had to reach out and score. But check it out if you can. It was a great try. Reece Walsh, he returned. He got 2 tries within 2 minutes. And Adam Reynolds, congratulations to him. He played his 300th game in the NRL. So he's obviously played for New South Wales and also South Sydney as well. And the Broncos, I think he's played about 65 or so games, I think, for the Broncos, the rest for South Sydney. So congratulations to him as well. 6 out of 8 conversions for him, 28-0 at halftime. The Broncos were way in control. They went on with it. A good confidence-boosting win for the Broncos, having not been in the best of form of late. A lot of questions about Michael Maguire, the coach. Is he training them too hard? Is he not? So, as I said, a good confidence-boosting win for them. Sees them in the top 8, in 8th position. For the Titans, though, where do they go? They are on the bottom of the ladder, even on points with Parramatta. Just for and against is killing them. Des Hasler, looks like he is under pressure to retain his job. I think he has a clause in there about his... if the Titans don't make the finals this season, he may be gone. So they'll be soul-searching for some wins. Sunday, we saw the Raiders play the South Sydney Rabbitohs. down there in Canberra. It was raining, it was cold, but still 19,438 people turned up, and that was for Josh Papali'i, who scored a double late in the game, 69th minute, 72nd minute, and also got his name on the conversion list as well. Ethan Strange gave up the kicking. Ethan Strange, wow, what a game he had. 2 tries, 5 goals. But Josh Papali'i, I should say, what a kick it was. It pretty much nailed it. Went straight between the posts. Ethan might find himself out of a job. Jamal Fogarty didn't kick, but maybe Josh can. That is for sure. But look, Rabbitohs disappointing. I think Cody Walker is injured again. Latrell Mitchell is out this week representing New South Wales. So that's a big loss for them, and a massive win to the Raiders. And look, they have their first bye this weekend. Other teams have had 1, some have had 2. This is their first, so they are sitting pretty in second spot. The next game on the Sunday was the Tigers up against the Panthers. 18 points to 14. The Panthers got the victory there. It was Luai versus Cleary. Tom Jenkins got 3 tries for the Panthers. 10-all at half-time. This was a really good game. The Tigers have really stepped it up in 2025. The Panthers, they got the win against Parramatta at the same venue the weekend before. 17,708 in attendance. And look, some controversial calls in that one, especially the penalty against Jerome Luai for the I think it was Nathan Cleary put a kick in. Blaze Talangi, he put a kick in, and it was deemed to be a late tackle. So, look, a bit of controversy there. It was probably simultaneous, but it wasn't looked like that. So, the Panthers, they get the win there. The Tigers, they'll be proud of that effort. That is for sure. Against the 4-time premiers, even though they didn't get the victory. To River, he got a try against his old club as well. So that could have been the one that went away from the Tigers. Looked like they were nearly going to snatch it in the end, but just wasn't to be. Now, the last game of the round, which I won't go into too much detail, as you can check out the game review podcast, was the Bulldogs and the Eels. The Bulldogs, they went on their merry way, kept on winning, and it was 30 points to 12. So you can catch more in-depth analysis in my game review podcast, which is out now as well. And the Roosters had the bye. So that was round number 14. As we check out the ladder, it is the Bulldogs on top on 24 points, the Raiders and Warriors on 22 points, the Storm on 20. That is your top 4, which they are getting a bit of a gap because in 5th spot is the Sharks on 16, Cowboys 15, Dolphins on 14, and Broncos on 14. That is your top 8. And also, look at this log jam at the moment, all the way from 7th to 12th on 14 points. So just outside of the 8 on for and against is the Sea Eagles, Roosters, Dragons, Rabbitohs on 14 points. The Panthers on 13 points. Tigers 12, Knights 12, Eels 10, Titans 10, round out the bottom. Only the 5 games this week in round number 15 due to State of Origin. So check out the tipping podcast for the details of those games and for mine and Ella's tips. Look, I'm thinking pretty much everyone will tip the same sort of winners in this one this weekend anyway. Thank you very much for listening to this one. It was a bit of a quick one today. Just wanted to get this one out as well. As I said, the game on Monday really threw things out. Hopefully next week it will get back into routine. 14. There will also be a interview podcast come out this week as well, with a very special guest as well, so stay tuned for that one. Thank you very much for listening. Please share it with your family and friends. I'd really appreciate that one. And the Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Para! How you going, mate? Are you a Para Cave podcast listener?
I am, bro. It's a great podcast. Everyone tune in.
Go Para!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. See you next time.